Okay, we're going to do construction for the incenter, and the incenter is the point of concurrency for the three angle bisectors of a triangle. And it will be the center of a circle that is inscribed inside the triangle. So we're going to have to do three angle bisectors. So make sure you've got a compass and a sharp pencil there to be more accurate. And we're going to go ahead and start bisecting angles. So I'm going to choose to bisect this one first. I'm going to make it smaller because if you think about it, we're doing an inscribed circle. So I know my incenter is around here. So I don't want this to be so big that it's going to get too close to that because then it gets confusing. So I'm going to make it actually pretty small. So put the point of your compass on the vertex and then make an arc so that it intersects both sides. Okay. And then you're going to, you can keep that same distance or you can adjust it now. If it's going to, again, get too close to your incenter, I think this one should be fine. And then you're going to put the point of your compass on one of the arc intersections on one side of the angle that you're bisecting and put an arc. And do the same thing on the other side. So the arc intersection with the other side, and then you're going to make another arc. And so that intersection of the two arcs is a point that lies on the angle bisector. So we're going to go ahead and use a straight edge to connect that intersection with the vertex of the angle we are bisecting. And you just got to be careful here since it's at the vertex. It's kind of can be difficult to get it to be exactly where you want it to go through. So you can always do a couple test strokes there. All right. And then we're going to do a dashed line, and we don't need to do it actually outside the triangle really at all, especially not over here because the incenter will be inside the triangle. Okay, so that's one angle bisected, so we're going to do another one. You can always turn your paper to make it easier on you, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my paper this way to do this guy. So I'm going to readjust my compass here and make it this length here and put the point of the vertex here. Again, do your arc on each side. Okay, and now I don't want it to interfere here, so I'm actually going to make my compass quite a bit bigger so that my arcs are outside the triangle, just so it doesn't interfere with anything. Put your point on one of the arc intersections with one of the sides of the angles you're bisecting and put your arc, and do the same thing with the other side. Get your arc, and you got your intersection of arcs. So that point lies on the angle bisector. So again, I'm going to draw a dashed line through the so that it connects the points of this intersection and the vertex of the angle you are bisecting. I'm going to draw this dashed line, and I want to make sure that's solid when I intersect that other line there. Okay, so you can see I didn't get a quite solid line there, but we can see where they intersect already. So I can already tell where my incenter is, but you have to do the third construction. What I forgot to do on the first one is mark that they were bisected, and you definitely want to do that. So I'm going to mark angles there and then put a tick mark. I don't like to do the way you mark equal measures by doing like double arcs or triple arcs with these constructions because we've got a lot of arcs going on, so I can get confusing, so I always choose to do the arc with the tick marks. So for this one I can do the arc on each side and do double tick marks to show that these two angles were that this angle is bisected, so we got two equal measures here, but they're not necessarily equal to these individual angles. All right, we have one more to go, so I'm going to turn my paper around and go here. I'm going to make my compass back to being a little smaller. The point of the compass on the vertex of the angle you are bisecting, an arc on each side, and then you're going to pick it up. You can adjust it now if you want. I think my length is still okay. And do your arc in the center there with each side. Okay, and then I get my arc intersection, and now I'm going to, that intersection lies on the angle bisector of that angle. So I'm going to connect the vertex of the triangle, of the angle that I am bisecting, through there. And don't force it to go through the incenter. It'll show you how accurate you are if it actually does go through there, so don't force it. I should have a different pencil other than my compass, but that's okay. Okay. All right, that should be good enough. Oop. So another dashed line. Okay, and that looks pretty good. It's a little tiny bit off. I think my line was a bit off here. It should have been shifted to the left a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna turn it back around, okay? And again, the more accurate you are, there's like you have a sharper pencil, and the more careful you are, the more accurate you'll be. So I don't want you to be too far off. This is really close actually, but I don't want you to be so far off that you're getting little triangles formed from the 3 angle bisectors. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark this angle up. And I'll put triple tick marks there to show that I bisected that one. All right, now we have the incenter constructed, and I'm gonna go ahead and label that with P. Again, I will tell you what to label that. And unlike the circumcenter, we can't just go ahead and draw the inscribed circle without constructing anything. You have to make another construction here. Because the incenter is the same, because it's inscribed, it's the same distance from each side of the triangle, and it's distance from a point to a segment or a line. So that has a special definition. Remember, it has to be the distance is defined from a point to a line as the segment that is the measure of a segment that is perpendicular to the side. So the line that is going to represent the radius of the circle is going to be from here to the side, but it has to be perpendicular. So we have to do a perpendicular construction. So you can do it with either of the sides. It doesn't matter which of the 3 sides you do. It looks like this one is looks perpendicular. You can never ever assume that, but it almost looks that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do it one of these other sides, and I'm just going to go ahead and do, let's see, I think this side will be easiest. So you need to adjust your compass, and this is just like a perpendicular bisector construction, or just the perpendicular line construction what we've done before. So you need to put the point of your compass on the incenter, and it needs to be big enough so that it's going to hit the side that you're trying to make a perpendicular line to, but it has to hit it twice. So this right here that I have is too big, so I need to make it a little smaller, but not too small. So this one side's just a little bit difficult to do with the size of the triangle, but that's okay. And then I'm going to do an arc, okay, so that it hits that side twice. So you can see there's the arc here, arc here. All right, now you can pick it up. Now we can adjust our compass if we want. I'm going to make it a little bigger to make it easier. Now normally when we do a perpendicular line, we would put the point here and make an arc up above and below, but we're going to only do the below arc because we're going to go ahead and force it to go through the circumcenter. So put the point on the other one here, and then down here. Then you get your intersected arcs. So once we connect this point formed by the intersection of the arcs and the incenter, it'll be a perpendicular line to this side of the triangle. And we're going to draw it as a solid line inside the triangle just to show that that's the radius, and we're going to draw it as dashed outside. So I can see where my point is, so I'm going to line it up with that, like where I poked the paper with my point of my compass. And there. So solid inside, and then dashed outside. My pencil isn't cooperating with me. Okay, you can see I'm a tiny bit to the left there, but that's okay. My pencil is just not being cooperative. So that is the radius. So I'm going to mark that as a right angle, and you'll need to mark that to show me that you did the perpendicular construction, and I'll also be looking for these markings anyway. So now that's the radius of our inscribed circle. So now you have to take your compass and make it that length. So we're going to put the point of the compass back on the incenter, and we want to make sure that it's going to hit right there where they intersect at that right angle. So I'm going to do some practice little swoops to make sure it intersects exactly where I want it to intersect to be the most accurate. So you can just do little practice arcs here to see. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to stick with that. And for this one, I'm going to choose to actually rotate my paper. So, like I said, you can rotate your paper, make it a little easier on you when you're drawing this. Okay, good. So there's your inscribed circle, and you can tell that mine is a little off. Okay, it's a little off because it's a little outside the circle. But as long as you have all the markings and stuff, you're going to be fine. So that is the construction for the incenter.